Comey writes here, I spent a lot of time thinking about the title of the book. That's a good idea as an author myself now. Definitely, you want to spend a lot of the title's the most important thing.
That's the first thing they read.
Yeah. In one sense, it came out of a bizarre dinner meeting at the White House where a new president of the United States demanded my loyalty to him personally over my duties as FBI director to the American people. But in another deeper sense, the title is the culmination of 4 decades in law as a federal prosecutor, business lawyer, and working closely with 3 U.S. presidents. In all those jobs, I learned from those around me and tried to pass on to those I worked with that there is a higher loyalty in all of our lives. Not to a person, not to a party, not to a group. The higher loyalty is to lasting values. Most important, the truth.
Damn, dude, I'm glad that you got paid $3.8 million for your LinkedIn About Me page. You fucking tall, dumb shit. No, yeah, I mean, guileless is the way to describe this guy because
he's an incorruptible hall monitor.
Well, he is a deeply evil person because he's spent like the plurality of his life just locking people in fucking cages because I don't know, they
including Martha Stewart, by the way.
Yeah,
he put her away.
Ethics without morals.
Yeah, exactly. But just as a person, he's a bumbling oaf dipshit who's one of these people who can't let go of being an Eagle Scout when they're 12 because they think it's the most significant thing that ever happened, and they think that they are Braveheart because their hearts swell with joy when they go to see the Astros play the Orioles and they hear they see a fucking Korean War veteran hobble out there and go, "It's good to be proud of your country," and they think that they're knights on a valiant quest, as Dan Quinn says. Anyway, as we go deeper into this book that I haven't read, just the little bits and pieces I get about James Comey along the way, I hope that he walks into a ceremonial sword display and beheads himself.
I mean, one of the things that Matt, maybe you'll disagree with me. Like, he does come in the book. He really does come across as a guy who really loves rules.
Oh,
and he's like a real stickler for the rules. And I think, like, probably like in his mind, like he does present himself in a sense that I thought was credible as someone who really does believe in the role of the FBI as a kind of neutral law enforcement agency, and that their only job is essentially to comment on the legality of things, be it at the NSA spying program or the torture of POWs.
They police the police. It's a great system.
They watch the Watchmen.
And that, like, and that he really, I think, regards himself as someone who is not ideological, but as the cliche goes, I call balls and strikes. Like, that's what I do in the FBI. And that Trump's real problem with him is that, he wouldn't commit to being loyal to an administration.
Because he had a higher loyalty.
And not the higher loyalty, of course, is to the law and America. And whether you think that's credible about Comey or not, the way he writes about how he feels about it, it certainly seems that that's what he thinks.
He seems very genuine, which is what makes it so depressing, because you have this just shiny-eyed zealot for this fantasy vision of America who went through all of this stuff. He talks about all of his stints in the U.S. Attorney's Office, working for the Clintons and for George W. and then for Trump and Obama. And he comes out of the other end of this just meat grinder where he sees that all of these ideas of independent agencies and things being uncorrupted by politics is a total fantasy. And his resulting thought is all of these people should have read The Kill a Mockingbird. Like he genuinely just thinks these people are they don't understand what these values are. And if they understood the values, then everything would be better. Not that, the structural reality of these institutions necessitate that politics is inextricable from the execution of the agencies. Nope. It's that it's the most liberal shit on earth, basically.
I do think that one of the reasons people gravitate toward him is because he is utterly guileless.
Oh, absolutely.
He lacks even a streak of cynicism. He is a true believer. And
he is. He is a Boy Scout.
He's emerged. He's emerged without disenchantment, which I think would make him more credible.
Yeah.
But
it just makes him sad, in my opinion.
I mean, it's
deeply depressing.
It's utterly pathetic, but it's like...
You've seen the sausage being made at the highest levels,
like
and you're still a process truster.
How many mixtapes do you think he bought on the subway on the way to that reading? Oh, I got to pay for this? Well, okay, if your signature's on it.
The Take a Penny jar says a penny, no more than that.
Talking to Trump about the Steele dossier, he again strongly denied the allegations, asking rhetorically, I assumed, whether he seemed like a guy who needed the services of prostitutes.
Yes, look at me. Do I look like I would need to pay for sex? Just a third neck fold makes a button fly into the wall, wedged 6 feet in there, from his neck fold popping out.
But he also loves paying for things. Like that's part of the appeal.
He plays free to play games just to do microtransactions.
He calls it making deals.
Yeah. I have made a great deal with the Fortnite Battle Pass. Okay, we have the dab emote now. Okay, really great. They were going to ask 500 tokens for it, 450.
Folks, I got the bubblegum castle at Candy Crush. It was a steal.
He goes,
$300,000.
They call me the JP Morgan of soft tokens.
so he's quoting, he literally quotes Michael Corleone being the line where he says, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
James Comey is one of those guys who every time he goes to a restaurant with cloth napkins and has a tie on, he's like, mob boss shit. I'm in the mafia, dog.
There is quite a bit about the mob.
I could definitely see him as Sterling Hayden, just gormlessly chewing on veal parmesan before getting fucking domed with a pistol.
Yeah, but he's meeting with Michael Corleone to give him his book, bitch. Yeah. He didn't even want to hit him. He's just like, this is so boring. Is there a gun anywhere?
He does love his wife, though.
He doesn't ever talk about them having sex, though.
No, that would be uncouth.
James Comey,
he respects her too much.
James Comey conceived his kids by walking up to his wife, hugging her lightly, and then shaking her hand and saying, "It's been a pleasure to serve with you," and then going to the office and sending next day USPS a vial of his own semen and saying, "Do with this as you will," and including a Niebuhr quote about irresponsible use of whatever with it. And he's like, I'm proud to say that there's actually an FBI statute that says an agent can never have sex with a woman, and I have followed it to the letter. I'm the only man who's ever done this.
Does he have any advice for like making small talk to your wife? Any how-to guides? You know, something like, "Hey, honey, that's a nice dress you have. It could use some honor, loyalty, and dignity, though."
Nice dress. Does it come in respectable service?
The one dialogue that I do remember, his wife tells him, at the dinner table or in bed one night at the height of the Bush administration, "Honey, don't be the torture guy." And he took that to heart.
Good advice.
To good advice.
Not trying to do anything.
Don't have our family name forever associated with Abu Ghraib style abuses.
The torture's gonna happen. Just keep your government paycheck and not be the person associated with it.
Yeah.
I feel like women are always saying that to you.
Oh, me or the torture?
They say that to Virgil when they sit down at the dates at the dinner table. They say, "Don't be the torture guy."
Oh yeah. His enhanced interrogation is asking her what she did that day. His Guantanamo, his girlfriend. He calls his girlfriend Guantanamo Bay. That's right.
Perfect. Back of the net.
Do you hear that, Mr. Trump?
You missed bottled waterboarding.
He talks about his time under Obama. And the only character in this book that he really clearly likes a lot, because he sees in him a kindred spirit, is Obama. Obama is, in his mind, as committed to all this horse shit about honor and ethics and humbleness and being thoughtful in power as he is, and as institutional integrity as he is.
Delusional, by the way.
He loves,
Obama's a total cynic, 100%.
Well, he came away just starry-eyed, even though he says, like, I didn't vote for him, I didn't support him, but my God, he clearly is the one guy he admires who he actually writes about in this book, or the one he does most. And that really gives you a vision of Jesus. No wonder everything is so fucking mutatedly horrible. If these are the guys who have like the ability to stop something from like Trump from happening in the short term, and if they're this sort of hobbled by their delusions on how this stuff actually works, how the hell are you going to get anything other than the worst possible outcome?
Just a little bit more color about Comey being one of the cool kids in his high school growing up. He says here, "I was not the coolest kid at my new school, Brookside Elementary in Allendale, New Jersey, something I figured out pretty quickly. My parents are always trying to save money, so my mother cut her boy's hair with her own electric clippers and dressed us in clothes she purchased at a Sears outlet. My pants were too short, and I wore white socks with heavy-soled black shoes to support the fallen arches in my huge feet." He was like Bart in that episode where he has to get corrective.
Thank you, nice lady.
He has to get the corrective shoes.
The worst thing that could happen to you if you're a guy like Comey, you go from talking about Plutarch with another just bloodless guy to like Donald. Hey, you know what? I came up with the idea for the TV show Extra. I said, hey, what goes on behind the scenes?
Now I'm imagining.
I picture him at the opposite ends of an extremely long table, and then there's just a giant platter of nuggies in the middle.
Can I offer you Donald Trump?
Wipeout is playing on a giant TV behind him.
Donald Trump did some stupid psychology maneuver where he's like, I'm going to keep all the dipping sauces at my side. So cool. He wants to dip. He has to walk over. Then we'll see you so tall. Wait, what's your job again? Are you won a contest, right?
Okay.
I'm really sorry your son died or whatever.
What is his relationship with his father? Because
His father,
Really loved this manager.
James Comey.
yeah, he really likes the manager.
James
Yeah.
Comey's father was a store display of Brill cream stuffed into a cheap suit with a gun attached to it.
I feel like it was Cotton Hill.
Yeah.
He seems like a guy who had a happy childhood, though.
James Comey.
did have
James
a
Comey's dad was a judge advocate corps who court-martialed the people who bombed Dresden for not hitting enough civilians.
I don't think his dad is like that.
All right. This is the only chapter of the book I read. Chapter 39, The Temerity of Dishonor. On March 2nd, I put on my black leather bass rubber soles. They were an experienced shoe and had seen mobile command centers, award ceremonies, and court settlements for greedy families that did not seem to understand that when a federal law enforcement officer points an M209 grenade launcher at them to request that they surrender their pirated copies of Jason Derulo songs, they oblige. These shoes commanded respect, but their modest bottoms meant a silent journey for the feet of their owner. It was my favorite type of apparel, a self-contained stoic of old who does not need to brag by echoing loud clacks on floors, much less those hollowed halls of 1600 Penn. Little did my brave little pedal protectors know that they were about to meet their opposite, a braggadocious lout who had none of their qualities, President Donald Trump. Hey, Director Dumbass, how are we doing today? Other presidents would refer to me by my name, not this one. Vanitas vanitatum omnia vanitas, I responded stoically. This was the motto of the FBI's Pakistani 11-year-old monitoring division. Hey, I should get Jared in here. Say, hey, Jared, I think you got another guy doing his, what was it, bar mitzvah in here? Really great. Didn't know there were you people in the FBI. Takes all kinds here, really good. The pompous commander-in-chief responded ignorantly. I have the utmost respect for the Jewish people, by the way. Mr. President, what is the purpose that you have convened this pleasurable tete-a-tete, I asked. Gina Gershon was and still is one of the absolutely most splendid-looking women you can find on a map, and it remains true and true to be seen. I could have had her in 93, and I invented the idea for the Empire carpet jingle. If previous chief executives dispensed wisdom buttressing their points that I often respectfully disagreed with, this was a man who offered boasts in their stead. I could feel the brave souls of the men of Ruby Ridge crying out in anger. That is incredible, sir, I responded. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, right. So I have a question. Say you committed a crime, but when you committed the crime, you got the things now where you put some stuff in a vial and they tell you, oh, you're Scottish, you're Irish, really great. Now, when you committed the crime, you think, oh, I'm German. But it really doesn't count, right? It can't. You think you're a different person when you do it. I mean, they've done cases on this. My memory splashed to 1972 when I was enduring the privileged crucible of the Eagle Scouts. I was mastering the slip knot when it occurred to me. One cannot tell the truth while also lying. Something was afoot. All right, time's up, Director Homo. See you later. Great, really good. And that's amazing. That is really good by Director Comey.
Wow.
Yeah.
James